Hello! Welcome to my channel. This is Lianna here. We are going to get into some really juicy conversation today. Stay tuned, stay here. I hope you're happy. I hope your life is going really well. I hope you're having sex once in a while. We are going to spend the next month talking about BDSM. What's BDSM? Have you ever explored it before? Does it terrify you? Do you know people that are involved in BDSM? What does it stand for even? BDSM. It sounds so crazy, so wild, so out there, so incredibly wild, right? To some people. But let me tell you, it is a beautiful direction for sexual exploration as a couple, as a single. There are so many things that you can do within the world of BDSM. So I want to spend a little bit of time over the next month talking about some specific practices that you can try, including how do you get your partner to join in with you to play around with a little bit of BDSM. What does that stand for, right? Now, before I start, there's 4 days to get into my orgasmic living program for women. So check it in the description. Send your wives, send your girlfriends, send your friends that are feminine beings, send your mothers, send any feminine being that needs to connect in a more orgasmic way to their bodies. Deeper orgasmic ways, multi-orgasmic ways, okay? We're really going to get into how do you do that? How do you tap into the body? How do you open the body and feel the sensation so that you can have more pleasure? All right, come and join me. Come and join me as soon as you can. Now, what does BDSM stand for? What is that acronym? There's a few words that have been used. Bondage, B. D, domination or discipline, okay? B, D, S. S could be submission or sadism. BDSM, masochism. So these are big words. These are big words that are used within the world of sexual exploration. And most people, many people that I have worked with, that I know, have little bits of interest in various aspects of the BDSM. Once you enter, once you open the doors, there are all sorts of possibilities, things that you can't even imagine right now, that you may even enjoy at a later stage. But you start moving in at one step at a time, trying one little thing at a time, okay? There's no necessity to just say, come on, hey, let's go do some BDSM, and blah, 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 off you go wherever. Doesn't really work like that. But first of all, we're gonna talk about why would you want to enter into BDSM. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. So I had no idea what that was, what that meant, because when you are new to sexually exploring, the first thing that comes up is not BDSM, and it certainly wasn't talked about much when I was exploring like 25 years ago. It was very underground, very hidden, very dark, scary, only for crazy people, maybe people that had some serious problems. You just did not go there. And I didn't even know about it at first. But as in my first relationship, the first kind of area that came up was submission and dominance, okay? Now these are control-based kinds of game playing, role playing that you can do. And for me in my relationship, my partner wanted to be dominated. He wanted me to be the dominating one, and he wanted to be the submissive one. It was a whole new concept for me. I knew that we needed some changes in our sexual connection and our relationship. It was, you know, after whatever it was at that point, 6-7 years, is let's do something different. And okay, that's possible. I didn't really know what I was going to do, and I wasn't sure how I was going to step into that domination role. So he had some ideas. He had done a bit of research. We talked about it. And the idea was that I was going to spank him and I was going to control the sexual scene that day. Now, this was also a whole new scene for me because up until that point, he'd been leading mostly. I would get things going once in a while, but mostly he was leading, directing. He was the one who was he was the one that was kind of open to trying new things or exploring some possibly new ways of connecting, having sex, but mostly just heterosexual connection. I never really thought about, being really the dominant one myself. And when he brought up the idea, I thought, okay, let's give it a try. But it was also quite scary for me. And also, I didn't really know what I was going to do and how I was going to step into that role to be that person that was going to take control. So it took many practices. I remember the first time he was kind of upset that I wasn't doing what he wanted. He had imagined some things in his head, how this was going to go, what he wanted to happen. And maybe he had imagined it for a long time. But for me, it was very, very new. It was not only new hearing about it, but now I was going to be actually doing it. And I felt really silly. I felt really cheesy. I felt really uncomfortable because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to feel into that role. But I also felt excited that this was a new place to explore, and that when you're exploring something, anything you're exploring, you got to give it some time. You got to try it a number of times in order for you to sort of figure out where you fit in, how it works for you, how you're going to be comfortable doing what you're doing, what you like, what you don't like. There's all sorts of aspects. This is with everything in your life that you need to have more than one time that you do it in order to find out, is this really something for me? How do I like doing this? What works the best way? And as you do it more and more, even if you have wow, that was something about that intrigues me. Didn't go that well maybe, and the first time for sure didn't go that well. It didn't go that well. We ended up fighting. I wasn't doing what he wanted. I wasn't able to step into it. He wasn't listening to me as the submissive. So it did not go well. But we did try it over again and again, a number of times, different ways, different approaches. So I'm going to talk about some different approaches that you can have in upcoming videos. So stay tuned for those. But that was our entry point, was sort of really switching the roles. And to become the dominant person within the connection of a heterosexual relationship, and you're the woman, it's also very unusual because often the woman plays more of a submissive role. It's not really maybe identified clearly, I'm the submissive, you're the dominant. But normally, in a traditional kind of sense, the woman is more submissive and the man is more dominant. Of course, it's all changing a lot. I mean, I was exploring this concept of domination, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and it was really bizarre for me. I had never heard about it. I was not reading underground sexual activity. But since then, over the years, as I've been exploring, because there's more than just that level, and just that opening level of you and your partner, as you enjoy it and find out ways that it works and find out ways that you can really get your partner to do what you want, find out what gets them excited, what gets you excited, then you can start opening to exploring it deeper, trying new ways of disciplining, trying new ways of new places, setting up new scenarios. Maybe you dress differently. So we're going to talk about a lot of these different aspects. But what I wanted to bring forth right now is that it's all an exploration. This is all about sexual exploration. So my first foray into it was being a dominant. That shifted over time to me being more submissive. And, I was slightly more submissive in the beginning, but there was some equal par sexual activity going on. When I stepped into submissive, I realized that was a whole world that could be opened up. And that was an easier drop for me. That was an easier turn on for me initially. I liked being controlled. I liked being told what I was going to be doing. My feminine body like to be that kind of feeling of being held back from having pleasure, but going into a little bit of pain. I mean, there was spanking involved, there was tying up, and all of these things I'll talk about in more detail, but we really opened the door into deeper exploration around me being submissive. And that went on for a number of years and got deeper and deeper and deeper. So what I've come to realize within BDSM, and that in a world that I thought was this scary place, this dark, how do you get in there, dangerous even kind of possibilities, because when you think of it, if you know anything about it, even now, I mean, wear black, attitudes, fear, pain, all of that those kinds of feelings and emotions come up. And yes, that all exists, but all of that intriguing kind of stuff, the darker elements, are exciting. They're exciting. They're exciting to, you kind of literally go down into your dark, shadowy elements, and you get an opportunity to explore stuff that is maybe deeply repressed, sitting inside of your body, inside of your being, that hasn't been opened before. So you're really opening different Pandora's boxes, going and seeing, ooh, what's in here? How can I express this part of me? This submissive part. How deep can I go into submission? How deep can we play in this area? How much will I let myself let go, be controlled, taken over? And on the opposite, how much will I let myself dominate, take over that kind of energy? Of course, there includes within BDSM different elements of pain. How much pain can I tolerate? Some people can tolerate a lot and they love it and it's pleasurable, and some people just a little bit playful. Pain is a really intense direct connection to pleasure. So you may be using floggers or whips or different kinds of stimulant that's hitting the body. It doesn't start off strong and painful. It starts off so light, like something just rubbing your body gently. And if you're with the right people, exploring in a safe way with safe words, then you go to a workshop and you learn how to do this properly. You learn how to go in gently. You learn how to respect each other deeply. You learn how to be so present, and the energy just builds like a cauldron of hot water, heating up slowly. So it's a dance, it's a journey, it's a way to release energy that's sometimes deeply hidden and repressed in your body. It's a way to open to higher and more exalted levels of pleasure. So I really want to talk more about this because I think there's a lot of interest in BDSM. There's a lot of fear in BDSM, and I want to, as per usual, I want to break some of these taboos because I know people are interested and people are entering, and certainly people are dressing the part. Maybe they're not playing it yet, but they're dressing it for sure. Even with popular culture outfits, I look on Instagram, I see people in their blacks and their collars and their chains, and I wonder, are they doing these things sexually, or are they just like that kind of energy of the clothes? Maybe they're doing both. Maybe it's just the energy of the clothes, In any case, I want to break this taboo because this BDSM is about sexually exploring, and you can do it so beautifully with a partner, with your loved one, with your wife, with your husband. That is a long-term relationship. It's a beautiful way to explore and dive deep, guys. Dive deeper with her, with him. So stay tuned. Over the next month, there's going to be another 4 or 5 videos that are talking more specifically about BDSM exploration. Talk to you soon. Much love making.